to Spectrum News at 2. I am Beat O'Brien, coming to you live from the beautiful hills of Ibiakoro. Let's take a look at the headlines. Federal government commends ASUP for calling off strike. Methodist prelates, others regain freedom 24 hours after abduction. Egyptian and Polish presidents discuss liquefied gas supplies and cooperation in Cairo. Details of these stories and more in a moment. We'll begin the news on our bulletin this afternoon with a report that the federal government has commended the Academic Staff Union of Polytechnics, ASUP, for calling off its warning strike and resuming duties. The government also lauded the union for acknowledging its efforts towards the resolution of the challenges facing polytechnic education in the country. In another development, Nigerian Customs Service (NCS) is looking to generate revenue of $176 billion over the next 20 years through the implementation of e-custom projects. The Controller General, retired Colonel Hamid Ali, stated this in Abuja during the signing of e-customs concession agreement between the service, the African Finance Corporation, and a Chinese company. On security, the Nigerian Army says reports about attacks on some villages by Cameroonian Ambazonian separatists are false. Director of Army Public Relations, Brigadier General Onyema Nwachukwu, issued a statement saying the Nigerian troops at the Danere received information and mobilized to the Bashu community, which was allegedly invaded, noting that on arrival they discovered that no incursion had happened at Bashu. Nwachukwu further assured Nigerians of military protection and advised members of the public to stay calm. Still on security, the prelate of the Methodist Church Nigeria, Samuel Kanu Uche, whom gunmen kidnapped on Sunday, along with the Methodist Bishop of Owerri, Right Reverend Dennis Mark, and the prelate's chaplain, have regained their freedom. The police public relations officer, Abia State Command Geoffrey Ogbonna, confirmed the release of the victims to newsmen, saying they could not give details as to whether a ransom was paid to secure the release of the kidnapped victims or not. Recall that the cleric and two other victims were returning from a program in the Umu Neochi local government area of Abia when the gunmen laid a siege to their vehicles and whisked them away. However, the secretary of the conference, Right Reverend Dr. Michael Akinwale, in a statement said the abductors demanded 100 million naira ransom for the release of the kidnapped clerics. In politics, the All Progressive Congress Presidential Screening Committee, which began sitting on Monday, questioned the party's presidential aspirants on 10 key issues, including their dual citizenship status. Some of the aspirants who were screened by the committee, headed by a former national chairman of the party, John Odige Oyegun, confirmed to newsmen that the panel asked them if they would be ready to step down for the consensus candidate of the party. Other questions asked included being the subject of investigation by the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission (EFCC) or the Independent Corrupt Practices and Other Relative Offences Commission. Being arraigned by the Code of Conduct Bureau, being convicted for a crime, as well as their manifesto. Recall that the ruling All Progressive Party APC, which initially scheduled the screening of its presidential aspirants for May 16, shifted it to May 23, but failed to hold the exercise. Still in politics, the People's Democratic Party PDP's presidential candidate Adikwu Abubakar has continued his fence mending with those in the defeat to clinch the ticket at Saturday's convention. Adikwu had, in the company of party chairman Dr. Iyochiayu, visited Sokoto State Governor Aminu Tambawal in his private residence in Abuja. Adikwu was also at the Abuja homes of Rivers State Governor Nyesom Wike and former Senate President Bukola Saraki. The duo polled 237 and 70 votes respectively to trail Atiku's 371 votes at the convention. Details of his discussion with Wike and Saraki were not, however, made public. However, in a tweet on his official Twitter handle, Adikwu said the visit was part of the rapprochement to bring all party stakeholders on board ahead of the presidential electioneering campaign. Meanwhile, Governor Nyesom Wike of Rivers State has called on his supporters to remain calm, describing his loss at the PDP's presidential primary as the will of God. The governor, who said this at the reception in his honor at the Government House in Port Harcourt following his return from the party's presidential primary in Abuja, revealed how he almost scuttled the People's Democratic Party PDP primaries. Governor Wike said though he did not clinch the PDP's presidential ticket, he believes, just like his supporter, that his performance has raised the political profile of Rivers State and other minority groups in Nigeria. Joins the rest of the world to commemorate World No Tobacco Day, WNTD 2022. The Executive Director, Corporate Accountability and Public Participation Africa, CAPA, Akimbonde Oluwafemi, has tasked the federal government to stop tobacco pollution of the environment. According to Oluwafemi, the message behind the theme of the WNTD 2022, Protect the Environment, is the fact that throughout its life cycle, tobacco contaminates the environment and impacts adversely on the health of consumers and non-consumers alike. Expressing concerns as Nigerians contend with the environmental impacts of tobacco, and to compound the issue, the tobacco industry has evaded the entertainment space with tobacco adverts. Oluwafemi urged the federal government to look inwards and revisit the status of tobacco control in the country. According to him, unfortunately, Section 9 of the Act provides for designated smoking areas to be created where there are sufficient number of rooms where smoking is prohibited. Becky, the management of TAF Media Group, owners of Planet FM and Spectrum TV, yesterday in a set-forth event presented an award of excellence to one of their pioneering staff, Jude and Becky Adikwu, as they move to other interests in life. Speaking at the event, CEO TAF Media Group Tony Afia, who presented the awards, described Oma as one who he has always been interested in the success of the organization, and Becky as a straightforward person who would always do her best for the growth of the company.
Maintaining a cordial relationship between the employer and employee has always been a cause for concern, as most employee-employer relationship often end on a sad note. That, however, was not the case for Planet FM OAP Jude of the popular Kukarembo afternoon show, and Becky Adikwu, who was the traffic controller personnel, who were given award of excellence and commendation for their years of professional excellence and cordial relationship with the TAF Media Group and member of staff. Describing the persons of Omar and Becky, the chairman TAF Media Group, Tony Afia, commended the duo for their iconic display of professionalism.
I think even after Omar is gone, the people would still link Omar to this that there's no way. But I thank you for doing what you've done, giving us enough time. I want to really appreciate you, Omar. You've done well. God will bless you. To go wherever you want to go. Let's go to Becky. I didn't really know so much about Becky, how she was hired, how she came here, but I finally understood that she's very dedicated to work. When she believes in somebody, she go all out to saving that person. That's the same thing that she's done for us here. She never would want to cheat us. For the type of job that she's doing, she would be somebody that could misappropriate. I don't have to check what Becky is doing, whether she's putting something there, whether compliance is there, not there. I know that she's a very straightforward and honest person. This is an award from TAF Media Group Pride Award, presented to Omar, OAP Planet Radio 101.1 FM, in grateful appreciation of your 9 years of outstanding performance. professional dedication and positive attitude from the job. We had heartfelt appreciation from the board, management, and staff of SAP Media Group today, Monday, 30th May 2022.
But the General Manager, Sunday Edit, thanked both individuals for their time of service to the organization and for the support and efforts they have made in the growth of the company. Edit noted that they added a lot of value to the organization during their stay, adding that they will be greatly missed.
The board, management, and staff of SAP Media Group represent the support of I think even after my squad, the people would still link over to this program. There's no way. But I thank you for doing what you've done, giving us enough time and you cannot leave. Not people.
Maintaining a
Marks, Omar, and Becky thanks the management for the opportunity given to them as they promise to continue projecting the image of the firm.
Very grateful to SAP Media, my boss, Mr. Premier. Thank you, sir. Thank you, Jim. Thank you, everyone that worked for the past 9 years. No, it has not been easy, but God has been faithful. And I want to especially appreciate Bishop KP for compliance. Yes, yes. I always fight out for my commission.
Sir, thank you so much for everything. Thank you for the opportunity. Actually, coming here, I never had experience. The only experience I had was working for the church. So coming here gave me a lot of opportunity and a lot of experience from the account section to traffic to the transport. I felt my experience around here, and I think that I've been able to learn one or two things and brought this up around. And then the honesty wherever I go. Thank you, SAP Media Group, for the opportunity, for everything.
Meanwhile, the coalition of widows and next of kin of retired primary school teachers in Akwa Ibom State have given the state government 2 weeks ultimatum to honor its agreement reached with the Nigerian Labour Congress NLC in the state and ensure the release of funds for the payment of over 38 billion naira currently owed them. Members of the coalition who were on a peaceful protest on Monday, May 30th, lamented the level of hardship they have had to endure, as well as the government's inability to commit to payment of emoluments for persons who serve the state government with their blood and sweat. Speaking with Planet Radio On, one of the coordinators of the group had this to say.
My name is Becky, one of the leaders of the next of kin, widows and of retired primary school teachers, people that serve this state meritoriously as primary school teachers and died without receiving their entitlements in Akwa Ibom State. We are here this afternoon in a peaceful protest to demand from government the payment of these entitlements. We agree that government has done all the verification that they needed to do on this matter, but they are also dragging because while this issue has persisted, government have refused to pay these entitlements to beneficiaries, and it's taking a whole lot of time. This is about the 7th year of this government, and not much achievement has been done in that area. And we are here this afternoon to press down on government, make our demand that they should pay.
Also speaking, some members of the coalition of Next of Kings and Widows said they have had to drop out of school to endure a leaving in sorry state as a result of the non-payments. They pleaded with the state government to commit to the payments. Away from that, and now to Africa, where Senegalese police have reportedly made their first arrest in connection with a fire at a hospital in which 11 babies died. A health workers union official, Usman Diouf, who said 3 people arrested in connection with the case were a midwife, a nurse, and the head of the hospital's human resource department. They added that they were being questioned on suspicions of endangering the lives of others. Recall that the inferno broke out in the Nyontano ward in the western town of Tiavaquain last Tuesday when President Macky Sall fired his health minister Abdoulaye Diouf Sarr a day after the tragedy. Meanwhile, the cause of the fire at the Mame Abdul Aziz Dabaka Hospital has not been established, although an electrical short circuit has been suspected to be the source of the fire.
Mame Abdulaziz Dabak Hospital in the west of the country led to the tragedy. A preliminary wives were convicted of failure to assist a person in danger. In April 2021, 4 newborn.
Meanwhile, Egyptian President Abdel Fattah el-Sisi has met with Polish President Andrzej Duda in Cairo. The North African leaders are hosting their counterparts for a 3-day state visit. Reports say topics on the agenda include strengthening economic and scientific cooperation, as well as the next UN Summit on Climate Change, scheduled in November in the Egyptian city of Sharm el-Sheikh. During the joint press conference, the Polish head of state also promoted Poland's potential to extend crops. Egypt buys around 60% of its wheat from Ukraine and Russia and now wishes to diversify its sources of supply. Andrzej Duda backed EU negotiations with Egypt to fill the gap in gas supply. To mark the launch of what both leaders wish to be a new era of bilateral relations, Poland is to resume direct flights to the national airline between Cairo and Warsaw on May 31. Still in Africa, Namibia has taken delivery of 23 ancient pieces of jewelry, tools, and other objects pillaged during the colonial rule and returned as an indefinite loan from Germany. The return of the artifact is part of the project to encourage rapprochement between the two nations. And now to the foreign scenes, where the European Union leaders have agreed on a plan to block more than 2/3 of Russian oil imports. The ban will only affect oil that arrives by sea, but not pipeline oil. Following opposition from Hungary, European Council Chief Charles Michel, who said the deal cuts off a huge source of financing for the Russian war machines, noted that the immediate sanctions will affect only Russian oil being transported into the EU overseas. 2/3 of the total imported from oil from Russia. European Commission President Ursula von der Leyen said the scope of the ban will be wider because Germany and Poland have volunteered to wind down their own pipeline imports by the end of this year. Meanwhile, Hungary's opposition to a proposed ban of Russian oil imports has frustrated 2 days of EU talks in Brussels as the bloc tries to agree a 6th round of sanctions. The exemptions of Duzban or Friendship Pipeline from the latest embargo is being presented by the Hungarian government as a major victory over the European Union. In a late-night video message, the Hungarian Prime Minister Viktor Orbán told Hungarians that they can sleep soundly in their beds, protected from the expensive fuels and heating costs which the embargo would mean for the rest of Europe. And still to come on our news this afternoon, Djokovic-Nadal clash in French Open quarterfinals today. Do stay with us. Well, thanks for staying tuned to Spectrum News at this hour. And now to news on our business since, where the National Bureau of Statistics, NBS, shows that the average airfare paid by passengers on specified routes for single journeys has increased by 52% in the past 12 months. In a new report, Transport Fares Watch, as of April 2022, according to the NBS, said airfares recorded a 19% increase when gauged on a month-on-month basis. Speaking in an interview with journalists, an official in the Corporate Affairs Department of the Airline Operators of Nigeria, the umbrella body for local carriers, EWOS, Iroro, described the factors behind the increase of the airfares as obvious concerns, which the operators had clamored about over the past few months. Still on our business news, the Nigerian Customs Service (NCS) and a consortium, Trade Modernization Project Limited, have signed a concession agreement worth $3.2 billion to digitalize operations of the border security and revenue collection outfits. This is just as the federal government expects to generate over $176 billion from the deal. At the agreement signing ceremony held at the Abuja National Headquarters of the NCS, where the representatives of technical and financial partners in the deal, including the African Finance Corporation and Hawaii Technologies Company Nigeria Limited, a subsidiary of China-based Hawaii Technologies Company Limited. The Controller General NSC, Colonel Hamid Ali, retired, in his remarks after the documents were signed, stated that Nigeria was setting a pace that other African countries were looking forward to follow. Ali said this is going to change the entire business process. It is also going to put the customs on the best path in terms of doing business. He also did say it will remove all arbitrariness and human mistakes, concluding that the process would make it easy in terms of the cost of doing business. On health, the World Health Organization (WHO) said it was not concerned for now about the spread of monkeypox beyond the African countries where it is typically found could spark a global epidemic. Since Britain's first reported a confirmed monkeypox case on May 7, nearly 400 suspected and confirmed cases have been reported to the World Health Organization in nearly 24 countries, far from the states where the virus is the epidemic. The UN Health Agency has voiced concerns at the unusual situation, but reiterated that there was no reason to panic over the virus, which spreads through close contact and usually does not cause severe diseases. Health experts are trying to determine why the virus has suddenly begun spreading in countries where it has never been seen before, and mainly amongst young men. However, vaccines developed for smallpox have reportedly been found to be about 85% effective in preventing monkeypox, but they are in short supply. On sports news, Novak Djokovic renews his 16-year rivalry with Rafael Nadal at the French Open today, with a semi-final spot at stake, and where victory for the world number one could end the 13-time champion's Roland Garros career. Nadal, who turns 36 on Friday, put his record of 109 wins and just 3 losses in Paris since his title-winning debut in 2005 on the line against the defending champion. The Spaniard was taken to 5 sets for only the 3rd time at the tournament by 21-year-old Felix Uga Aliassime in the 4th round. In the immediate aftermath of the victory, Nadal admitted that not only was this year's French Open at stake, but possibly his entire playing future. Overall, Djokovic leads Nadal 30-28 since the first career meetings at 2006 French Open. Still in sports, Wydad Casablanca has a new hero in Jare El Motaraji, whose brace gave them a 3rd African Champions League title in the final against Al Ahly Cairo by 2-0. In a crazy atmosphere at home yesterday, Zoher El Motaraji opened the scoring with a fantastic shot from 30 meters, which went into the top corner of Mohamed El Shenawi's net. Reports say the Egyptian defender doubled the stake just after the break, literally setting fire to the Mohammed V Stadium of Casablanca, where the final was played. In entertainment, Nollywood actress Stephanie Okereke Linus has welcomed the second child with her husband, Idahosa Linus. The movie star shared the big news via her Instagram page today, expressing unspeakable joy at the arrival of her second son. Recall that Stephanie and Linus are one of the most influential celebrity couples in the country. And finally, from the entertainment desk, Nollywood actress Annie Dibia has refuted claims that she unfollowed her musical husband, Two-Face Dibia, on Instagram. Several reports had claimed that there was a rift brewing between the couples when it was reportedly noticed that the actress was no longer following her husband. In a post yesterday, the mother of two noted that a glitch on Instagram had caused the unfollowing, which led to the rumored rift with her husband. Annie, while clearing the air, wrote on her Instagram story that the Instagram glitch had also reduced the number of her followers. Recall that for a few days now, Instagram users have been complaining about the fluctuating numbers of their followers on the social media platform. And that's all we have for you at this time. Do ensure to follow us on social media and subscribe to our YouTube channel, all of which you can find on our website, spectrumtv.ng. You have been watching Spectrum News at 2. I am Beta Brian, thanking you for watching. Do enjoy the rest of your day.